Hi everyone, so I'm just going to go through centering the pivot on an object. So say we have this cone shape here, and at the moment the pivot is firmly in the center. So if I rotate it, he rotates from here. But if I wanted to have him be the rotation to be happening down here at the bottom, I can push either the home key on the keyboard, or I can also push and hold down D, and I can basically move his pivot point. And then when I've got it in the place that I want it to, I can hit the home key again or release the D key, and then I'm able to actually rotate it from the bottom. So that allows us to move around where an object's going to be rotating from. If I wanted to rotate it from the top, I could do the same thing, move it up the top here. And now the pivot point for that is now the tip of that object. If I wanted to go back to the middle of the object, we can go up here to Modify and Center Pivot, which will send the pivot back to the middle of the object. One of the things people were asking me about was a little bit about snapping, so I'll just go through that now. If we want to snap this to the very top or the very bottom of this object, there's a couple, see these little magnets up here. These are the snapping magnets, and if I click this one here, and then I choose push home on the keyboard again, I can snap that to the very top. So if I move it near that vertice, it'll snap, and it'll be right on top of that vertice, and I can unselect that, hit insert, and now it's rotating from the very tip of that object. Alternatively, if I want it to snap to the very bottom, I can push the button again, hit insert on the keyboard, and just snap it, just drag it down to the bottom there, and push home again when you're finished. The other option you've got there is also for snapping to the grid here. You can click that, and that actually just allows us to snap to the grid. Snap to the grid, so I had those both switched on, so it was snapping to the vertice and to the grid. But if I just have them off, and then if I just have vertice off and just have the grid option, I can just snap to the grid, and that'll work in any of the view modes here. And that allows us to just snap objects on top of each other. It's really nice if you want to very accurately moving your object around through space. The keyboard shortcut for that is to hold down the C key will snap to curves, the X key will snap to grids, and the V key will snap to a vertex. So I can also switch that to vertex mode, and now I can snap it onto the top of this sphere, and it'll snap right onto any of those vertexes from top to bottom. And if you want to adjust the settings for our grid, we can head up to Display, go into Grid Options, and there's some options here for basically making the grid larger or smaller or increasing the number of subdivisions. You can have a bit of a play with those settings, especially if your grid's becoming really dense and really heavy, then you can go in and adjust those as well. So that's a quick guide to centering pivots and snapping.